Hello, Steve. Hello, Joe. It's time to game classic.
I can't forget not in love anymore.
I wonder how many times we've opened this podcast with at least the Doobie Brothers or one of the Doobie Brothers.
I don't know, but definitely I'd say more than 5 times.
Yes, that's a good. That's actually a very conservative estimate. Hey, everybody! Welcome to Game Classy. We're back after taking a week off, and we're here to give you all your best, worst gaming news out there. I'm your host, Joe, and with me is always my co-host, Steve.
Dun, 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 dun.
The Ferengi.
Yes.
I only say I'm just looking at. Yeah. So, did you have a good week off from the podcast?
Yeah. It was it was a arduous. I had to sit and keep my opinions to myself, and that's always annoying. But I bottled it all up, and now I'm ready to unleash it all into the world.
Unleash it into the world.
Yes.
No, I mentioned Ferengi because I was looking at the star. I pulled up all the stuff I wanted to talk about for today, and I have the Star Trek Ascendancy, the Final Frontier, in front of me.
Oh, nice.
Have you heard about this?
I heard there was an upcoming Kickstarter on GameFound, I believe.
Yes, it's a GameFound. It is all of the Ascendancy or Star Trek Ascendancy board game components and expansions put together in one board cube of a box.
Oh, for $150.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad deal.
That's a great deal.
If you're really into Ascendancy, I don't necessarily know if you need all of those expansions. They are fun, but the base game is pretty good in and of itself, unless you're like a game group that loves Ascendancy.
Yeah, I mean, I know doing the colonization stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game. Don't get me wrong. One of the best Star Trek games I've ever played, board game wise. Not that there's many of them, but
there's a surprising amount, but most of them you don't remember because they're really bad.
Yeah, like away missions. Those fucking models.
Who knows how good away missions is? No one's ever played it because the models look so bad.
I know. God, I would put that in top 5 gaming blunders of all time.
Yeah, that was a
maybe not top 5.
Extremely bizarre series of choices led to that, most certainly.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a game on GameFound that I actually backed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Blasphemous, the board game.
Ooh, Blasphemous, the board game. I know.
Yes. So Blasphemous is a 2D action platformer, kind of like Symphony of the Night. I think the Metroidvanias is the nomenclature, because they're like, it's the Metroid Castlevania style. So, and it has a very
what's it? Blasphemy?
Yes, it's Blasphemous, the board game.
Oh, Blasphemous.
Yes, Blasphemous. So
okay, that's why I wasn't finding it.
Yes, it's Blasphemous. Yeah, it's dope as fuck. It's extremely my bullshit when it comes to design. It's dark gothic, fantasy. Kind of has the there's like a it's not Catholicism, but it has a Catholicism vibe.
Yeah, it's got a churchy vibe to it. It's
churchy vibe. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's fucking. I'm fucking stoked. I'm really excited about it.
Definitely dark gothic. It's got kind of that what is it, Soulsborne?
Yeah,
flavor to it.
The dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. It's just where it's like, it's extra. It's fantasy, but it's really goth. fantasy with black lipstick.
Is it a big titty goth fantasy?
Yes. I said with the black lipstick.
With the black lipstick.
But yeah, I went all in. I did the Custodia pledge. I haven't backed anything on Kickstarter since Warlord TCG, which was like last year sometime. And I didn't go ham on that one. I just was like, "Ooh, Warlord! I remember that game," so I backed it. But this is the first actual I have selected the maximum pledge thing I've done in 10 years.
Damn, I like the guy with the big bell.
Yes,
just a dude carrying a bell.
Yeah, he lives in the bell.
He lives in the belt. Well, he's smart to do so.
Yeah, he's just like
No, I do like a lot of these figures. Some of them are okay, but I do like a lot of them.
yeah. I was really impressed with the with a lot. They brought the video game sprites to life like really really well. They transitioned the.
So this
the
was an
2D
actual game
sprites.
beforehand.
Yes, this was a video game.
A video game.
A video game. Yeah, they've had there has been Blasphemous and recently Blasphemous 2. So there's 2 games in the series, and yeah,
Blasphemous 2, Blasphemous 2 Furious.
Yes, that's right. And the first one was kind of like a sleeper hit. It made quite a lot of money, and it became a big hit, and then it led to a very very popular sequel and a now a very interesting looking board game. I did see one of the things that they were offering for this game, which I thought was interesting. Obviously, I did not choose it, but they actually offer to for an increase per item, like the base game, and then each expansion you can choose. You can get it washed.
Washed? Oh, like
Yes,
like paint
like-
wash?
Yes, like the example they showed is one of the boss figures that they clearly sprayed white or gray primer and then did like a black wash over it.
I don't know. Whatever.
It's I think that's pretty good for like people who are never going to paint their board games, because it does make it look much better than just the plastic.
Very true. Did you go in for the penance or the custodia? Custodia.
I went in for the Custodia.
That's a sweet looking package right there. That's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. Yeah, I'm excited about it. And
you got to tell me when he comes in. We'll take a look. We'll take a look.
yes,
I'm have you seen some of the videos that I've been posting?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, feel free if you got a video you want to post, just let me know. I've for those who don't know, I've on the Game Classy YouTube. I started just posting some stuff about my D&D campaign because I've started like really digging in deep and wanting to improve my own DMing. So I've been kind of tracking it online, and I just put up a couple videos. But if you want to do like an unboxing of Custodia when you get it.
Oh yeah, that's probably something that I would actually do. Actually, I just got a hand cam, so that'll be.
Well, that's all that.
useful.
For as far as I'm concerned, we're going hardcore, old school. Like, we are not professionals, even though we've been doing this for 11 years.
I mean, to be professionals, we would have had to have been doing it as our main source of income.
Yeah. Some of these people, like I watch some of the YouTube videos, like especially because I'm trying to really wrap my head around Tyranny of Dragons, and I figured out why it's so wonky, but watching some of these people like head talk about it, I'm just like, shut up. Like, you are not charismatic at all, and yet you have like 30,000 YouTube views. There's actually there's something that I thought of the other day, because I was doing it and I was like, oh, that's right. I have a couple YouTube channels that I subscribe to, and I don't know how good or bad their content is. Because I put them on because the way their voices sound is very relaxing, and I fall asleep to it. Oh, we'll never get that. Our voices are the least relaxing thing on the planet.
No, yeah, not us. I'm just saying that you can't when you're evaluating a YouTube channel, you have to consider that as an outlier, as a possibility. Like,
hey, everybody, welcome to Game Classy.
Yeah,
I'm your host, Joe. He's always my co-host, Steve.
I did not like that.
No,
not a fan of that. Not a fan of that one. No.
I give women the opposite of what's called orgasms, and men. Whatever the opposite of an orgasm is, I give them that. My voice does.
I think that would be immense pain. Yeah.
I got back. I'm doing theater again, local theater, and the show I got cast in, of course, is a show about Chicago. So I get to do my native accent, my regular accent. I haven't done my accent on stage in the history of me doing theater because I've never had the opportunity to. I'm always like, no one's ever from Chicago.
Yes.
But this play is about people who are literally from Chicago and kind of the type of people that I grew up with.
Oh, nice.
So I get up on stage and I'm trying to do my normal accent and I can't. And then I was like, oh, okay, so the show's just about over. I'm going to be performing it in a couple of weeks, and then I'm going to be auditioning for another show. The next show I'm auditioning for also takes place in Chicago. So I am straight up
That's really
going
funny.
to stereocast.
You're gonna get typecast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I want to be this generation's next Dennis Farina. That's my goal in life.
You're gonna have to show your ass.
It's true.
No, that's Dennis Franz.
Dennis Farina is the
commish.
What?
Isn't Dennis Farina the commish?
No,
Oh no,
that's
Dennis Farina's the shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck.
Yeah, he's the guy from
Snatch.
From Snatch, where he has one of my favorite lines of all time, where he goes, where the British guy's like, "We have beaches, Evie," and he goes, "Well, who the fuck wants to see them?"
I also liked. I said, England, bad food, worth weather, jolly fucking England, or Mary fucking Poppins.
England. Fucking Poppins, yeah.
Yeah. He was a funny guy.
If I could be this generation's Dennis Farina, I would be the happiest guy in the world. I want to be discovered by one of those guys, producers for like Chicago Fire or Chicago Med, where they're just like, this guy's going to be eating a sandwich in a scene.
Yes. and the person I like swapped around in my head for that at that moment was Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis, yes. The Thing from the Fantastic Four movies.
Yes. He was all right as the Thing.
He was a great Thing.
Yeah.
People hate those movies unfairly. They're bad, but they hate them unfairly.
Yeah, it's like look, you're right that it's bad, but you're wrong on why you don't like it.
Yes.
That's like people who hate Discovery.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
you're right. Exactly. You're right that it's bad, but the reason you hate it is incorrect.
Or Amelia Perez. Have you seen anything about Amelia Perez?
I'm not gonna lie, I do not know who that is. Oh wait. Is that the? Maybe I do. Okay, yes, I did see something about that. Like there was like, I saw a blurb, but like she was in something, and then like. No.
It's Amelia Perez is a movie that's got nominated for a ton of Oscars this year, and it is one of the worst movies of all time. And it's not the worst movie, but the problem is it's one of those movies where it's like, if you outright say that you hate the movie, you're labeled as like an awful person because it's about like trans people. But it's
I see.
Horrendous. It's a musical, and it's just like, well, if you watch some of the songs, you're just like, your mouth is agape at how bad the movie is.
I see.
And I can't understand it. Like, I just don't. And I just don't want to like go out there and say like, I don't like this movie without like a ton of asterisks next to it.
So it's a flim flam.
I don't know. That's the thing. It's really weird.
I saw about this because one of the actresses went like turbo racist or something.
Yeah,
like
she did.
That's what I had heard about. I thought her name was Amelia Perez though.
No, that's the name of the movie. But yes,
okay.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. But anyway, but yeah, I wanted to get back really quick just to the Ascendancy. You get it's $150 for that one, but the $150 actually only covers the expansion, the Final Frontier expansion. To get everything together, it's $250.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean that is I rescind my statement of how good of a deal it was.
Yeah, it's the all-in collection where you get literally everything is $500.
Yeah, so I rescind my my statement about what a bargain price I thought that was.
Yeah, it's not really that great of a deal, but it's.
I mean, it's half of the MSRP, so you're basically buying it at like retailer prices, which is pretty good.
Yeah, so it's there. You can do whatever you want with it, but it's definitely kind of cool. It comes in a big board cube. Do you come in a big board cube? No, so there you go.
I mean, I could buy a board cube and come in it.
Resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile, baby.
Let's switch to some D&D real quick.
The Dungeons and the Dragons.
This was on the slate for me to talk about on the last cast that we skipped, but I wanted to talk about the upcoming slate that they kind of announced for the new edition. A lot of the new books just got dropped. We got the Dragon Delves Anthology, which is another collection of
the short adventures,
mini scenarios all about dragons.
Yeah, I if I were to do anything with 5th edition, those are the kind of books that I would run, where I would just run all 10 of the adventures, and I'd just literally be like, make a new party, this is your level, and then run the adventure, and then do the next one, make a new party, here's your level, run the adventure.
Yeah, and what's nice is that these newer ones, they're really focusing on running them either as a full campaign or just as an individual mini thing. So you could run it individually, or you could run it as a major campaign, which is nice. Then that's coming out in July. Then in August, you got Eberron, the Forge of the Artificer. And now this is one I was laughing about with you, because this is the one book where if you played the Artificer, which is a very, very popular class, this is the book you have to buy, and it's Leave It to WotC and Wizards, WotC and Dungeons and Dragons to put one of that in a book that nobody's going to want to buy.
Eberron is bizarrely popular. I will say that.
Steampunk, steampunk.
Yeah, this I don't know if you're on the same page, but I'm on the Dungeons and Dragons Fanatics page.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. I'm following along with the release calendar as well, but like, there's like some of this art is like questionably done by a human being. Let me tell you,
well, they're not. It's all done by AI nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I think. So for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not great. What they're doing there. Yeah, I don't know. Eberron just seems so like it's like Eberron. Why? Why would you run Eberron out of all of the scenario and out of all of the universes in Dungeons and Dragons? Why Eberron?
Because you want to play Shadowrun, but you don't want to use the old weird, funky Shadowrun medieval rules.
You know what I think it is with Eberron? This is just my own personal.
They just want to play the robot.
They do. Well, it's I have a couple of those. What are they called? Not Forgeborn. Is that what they're called? I have a couple Forgeborn minis.
Yeah.
That
something
are
like that.
Warforged.
Yes, it's Warforged.
I have a couple Warforged minis that I absolutely adore. Like, they're some of my favorite minis I've ever painted, and I could see why someone would want to play that. But no, Eberron to me, it's just, I feel like it is for people who really like young adult fiction that is made for adults. YA fiction for adults, like people who like that Dragon Wing book. Have you heard about that book?
I have not heard about the book. No,
it's this like super popular series. It's like the new Twilight or whatever.
Okay,
it's like it's all about like dragons and like it's Dragon Riders of Pern, but there's like really, really torrid sex scenes that aren't really that good.
Got it.
But everyone talks about how like smutty it is, but the smut isn't really that great.
Got it.
Yeah. But it seems like it's like that type of thing. Like, I'm really into young adult fiction. I'm going to play Eberron. Which would be fine if Dungeons and Dragons said, hey, Eberron is going to be our young adult campaign system. Like,
yeah, I mean, it does. I see what you're saying. The vibes are definitely there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if Dungeons and Dragons, though, came out and said, hey, this is our series for young adult. It's designed for, basically 13 to 21-year-olds. Like this is like a definitely young adult setting. It's got houses and you get filtered into them and you do all this shit. Like that would make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're trying to market it towards me, and I'm just looking at this going, steampunk, yo. Steampunk.
I mean, yeah, it is just straight up steampunk.
My hat's got gears on it.
I got a mouse in there.
I do love. I love the steampunk aesthetic, but it's definitely very early 2000s or mid to late 2000s.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I can't say. I have never spoken to a living, breathing human being that has ever run an adventure in Eberron.
Yeah.
Or has ever played an adventure in Eberron. I've talked to a whole lot of people who've played Warforged. But never have I talked to anyone who's done anything in Eberron. So I literally cannot speak to it. I cannot speak to the quality of it. I know nothing about it. When it was out, Iron Kingdoms was already rolling because I had already been grabbing the Monsternomicon and all the supplements that had been done for that. So like I already had a steampunk fantasy game for my Dungeons and Dragons at the time. So I wasn't interested in the official version. And yeah, there you go. That's my whole take on Eberron.
Yeah, it's just it came out.
Personally, I actually like having the art. Like, so, I mean, it won't go this way, but I don't know. I like limiting classes to settings because I think Artificer is like that's a class that has no place in classic Dungeons and Dragons. Like, absolutely no place.
I think there needs to be more classes in Dungeons and Dragons. Myself personally, yeah.
We need more than infinite.
I don't know. I just feel like the class system is very limited in Dungeons and Dragons. I think that there's too many spellcasters and not enough like specified fighters, or other kind of healer classes and stuff like that. It's a personal opinion of mine. I think it's too limited in scope.
Yeah.
I think races should be limited, while classes should be expanded.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I you know how I feel. I think races should be a built-in class.
That's true too. I mean, either one. But my feeling is that now races have become too much of the furries, which is fine, but we don't need to have the turtle people and the bird people and this and this and this because
it's because they're running out of ideas of what more humanoids to make, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
They've made so many. They're like, well, we just got to keep making animals because we're out of every fantasy race and the ones we made up.
It's like so weird that no one has come up with decent fantasy races that aren't direct ripoffs of what Tolkien did at one point. It's like there is some sort of invisible wall, like Star Trek V, where you're trying to get to the center of the universe or center of the galaxy, and there's that wall, that impenetrable wall that people just can't get through to find out what the new great fantasy race is going to be.
Yeah.
They just can't do it. It's so limited in their thinking. Because it just ends up being someone, tall with pointy ears.
Yes. I mean, my fantasy race is the Delvid. They're a humanoid that crab walks and their head is in the center part of their body. They're horrifying to look at. There you go.
Mine is just a head on a foot.
Oh, I like that too.
I go back to Sir John de Mandeville's Travels Across the Globe, where he just drew like pictures of people with like.
Yeah, that's the thing. You could definitely look at any of those old weird maps or old weird fucking pictures. You can find plenty of those scrungly guys.
Yeah, like tell me, why can't I run a Bigfoot class? Or a Bigfoot race in Dungeons and Dragons? Why has no one made an official Bigfoot race in one of these books?
Yeah, sure. There is zero Squatch representation.
Exactly. Like, where's Mothman?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Where's the Chicago Mothman? It's like a regular Mothman, except he has like a bunch of tomatoes and pickles on him.
You're absolutely right.
Chicago style Mothman.
Chicago style Mothman. Yeah, it's called Chicago style. They're right.
Next one. Next one coming up is Heroes on the Borderland, which is the new starter set that's going to be coming out. It's the Keep on the Borderlands update, which is kind of fun.
Back to the Borderlands.
Yeah, I never played Keep on the Borderlands. Did you?
I have not. No,
it was a little bit before my time. That was like back in first edition AD&D, I think.
Yeah,
and I know they've updated it a couple times, but I've just never played it.
Yeah, that was definitely a super classic one. That I don't even think that made. Yeah, that was. Oh yeah, holy shit! Original print, 1979.
I know, I have it. It's a great little adventure. I've just never played it.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be. I'm looking at it. So okay, I see what it is. So as an adventure, you're correct. It would be shit. But what the suggested use by the players is that you make it a side trek. So it's like. You can be like while you're doing your main quest, you do the Keep on the Borderlands, and it's just something you're doing on the way to your main quest. Yeah, because it's and you can also use it as a lair for like random encounters and stuff. So yeah, it's supposed to be your sauce, not your main dish.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I'm gonna pick it up, of course. I'm gonna pick up all of these probably, but I definitely like the concept of like, hey, here's a classic adventure. Let's put it in the box. I wish that they would do something a little bit fancier with these box sets. Like, I know that they do the minis for them. I just wish that the box set would come with the minis, but whatever.
I mean, my biggest...
at least some of the villains that you'd be, fighting in there.
My biggest, shock of all of this so far is that they did not do a slipcase.
Yeah, no slipcase yet.
This is like the first edition of Dungeons and Dragons that I can remember that doesn't have a slipcase with the core books in it.
Yeah. Well, not since. Well, third edition was the first one that did that. Second never did a slipcase, I don't think.
I thought second had. Well, no, because second did the box sets.
Yeah, second had box sets, but they never did a slipcase.
So from from third forward, there's always been slipcases.
Third was the first one that did Player's Manual, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual.
Yes.
Yes. And I don't even think that was the original. I think that was actually a later release. Fourth was the first one that did that on release, I believe, or maybe 3.5. But I know fourth was the first one I can remember that actually did the initial starter set in with all 3 books in a slipcase for $75.
Possibly, yeah, I'm not sure. It's been
Possibly.
Couldn't think good. Possibly I go wrong.
Next up is the Forgotten Realms Player's Guide, which is going to be around next year, November 11th. So you're going to get, and the same day, you're going to get the Forgotten Realms Player's Guide and the Forgotten Realms Adventure Guide. So this is actually what I think is going to be most interesting. I know there's going to be a bunch of new subclasses that are going to be released in there, which is probably going to be the most useful thing released this year. And you're going to get a lot. I think there's going to be a lot more information on just like stuff with campaigns for the Forgotten Realms that it's not necessarily important, but useful. I know the Adventure Guide has a lot of stuff on Baldur's Gate.
Hey, more information about the Red Wizards of Thay can't be wrong.
Yes. Moon, Shea Islands, Icewind Dale. So all that stuff that you got when you were playing, your D&D point and click adventure games in the early 2000s, all that stuff is right there. So like when you were playing, Baldur's Gate 3 Dale Lands, that's all.
I will say if this is the intended design direction for D&D, I do really like the idea of instead of doing like an adventure book and then a this book and then a this book and then a that book and then maybe a player book and then an adventure book. I think doing setting, player's guide, and then basically DM's guide essentially.
Yeah.
For each setting, I think that's actually really cool.
That's what they did with not Eberron. That's what they did with Spelljammer. That's what they did with Planescape. Planescape. Because I have those. And those are actually pretty nice little sets. The settings aren't great. It doesn't look like there's a lot of effort put into them, but they're nice sets. There's a lot of interesting information in there. But yeah, definitely the Player's Guide, Adventure Guide is pretty good. I think that the Player's Guide is the most important thing because that's
for sure
going to sell.
Yeah, and that's gonna be your. I mean, the other books are good too because a lot of players like to pick up. Depending on if there's monsters in there, because I know players like to pick up monster manuals generally.
Yeah, because they like to cheat.
Yeah, it's true.
The players' guides are always. I think if they did players' guides like this, like if they did Forgotten Realms players' guides, here's some subclasses that you could play in Forgotten Realms. It's designed for Forgotten Realms. Here's stuff for Forgotten Realms in this book. That would be important. So if they did that for like Ravenloft, here's the Ravenloft player's guide. It's going to have subclasses that you could play in Ravensloft. And so that would help DMs too, because you don't want the guy who's coming in playing, I'm going to play a Warforged in Ravenloft. And you're like, no, shut up. God damn it. Mark, get out of here.
Now, interestingly enough, they did mention that that Eberron book is not a replacement for the other book, The Rising from the Last War. They've said it's supposed to be a companion for the Eberron Rising from the Last War book, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and it's because that they want to sell the old book because it never sold.
I can confirm that is not true. The book sold just fine.
It sold just fine. Okay, this is just my own personal opinion because I'm just like, Eberron, why?
I know there are. I'm telling you, people use the stuff from the book in their campaign. They just don't play Eberron.
Yes, you're absolutely right on that. So I know that this is actually kind of weird, but I don't have a ton of Games Workshop news, and I know we haven't talked about it in a while, but they really haven't announced too many big things.
The most recent announcement that I could think of is the new kill teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing too fancy. They had a couple new, just like smaller releases, but nothing. They're bringing back the Graveyard Terrain from years ago, which was really hyper popular, and that's cool. But you would think that there'd be a lot more information about like, Middle Earth or the Blades of the Hollow King for the Soulblight Gravelords is fucking phenomenally awesome.
Yeah, he's very cool looking.
And they did drop the High Elf stuff that like was really under the radar, but it's weird that they haven't like had any big announcements. They're probably waiting for Adepticon next month to do any of their big announcements.
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely 100%.
So what do you think is going to be the big announcement at Adepticon? Like, so is it going to be the new edition of 40K? You think?
I think it's way too early for a new edition of 40K.
I don't know. When was the last one? It's only been 3 years. It's the 3-year cycle. I think it's time.
Maybe, or it'll be. Oh, it could be. No, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
new edition of 40K. They're gonna drop.
Yeah. It'll either be that or something new. Maybe a new army for something.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like they usually. I don't know. It seems weird that they haven't. They've done a couple big army drops lately, but I don't think that they've actually actually ever done anything.
You know what? I know it. I figured it out. It's the triumphant return of War Master.
Oh, yeah. So
this is the year. This is the year.
It's going to be 11th edition. The 10th edition dropped in 2023, and so it's going to drop. Well, no, it's still early for it. That would be next year.
Yeah, that's too early. Next year would be next one. When was the new edition of Sigmar?
AOS I think was dropped in 2024.
Okay, so it won't be that.
No.
Okay, so it's not going to be. So it's not going to be a new edition. We can pretty much say it's not going to be a new edition. I think that's pretty accurate.
Well, we had Middle Earth. They've already announced that. So unless it's going to be like the big reveal of everything.
Yeah, it's probably just going to be reveals and updated, like, new armies and stuff. That would be my.
Maybe there might be a big Middle Earth strategy battle game push.
Maybe. I mean, the War of the Battle of Elros box is pretty cool looking.
Oh, by the way, that movie's on HBO Max now.
Which one?
The Ride of the Rohirrim.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I will.
So if you want to watch it, it's online now. So
I do want to watch it. I'll
highly recommend it because it's a fun 1.5 hour long return to 80s style anime adult cartoons for kids.
Nice.
Yeah, feel to it. Not great, not the best thing in the world, but it's fun, and I recommend it.
Hey, I don't mind. I never mind anything that's considered serviceable.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see.
What about a new edition of Horus Heresy?
That's what I was kind of thinking. It's still a little. I mean, I don't know. It seems early for
well, maybe it'll be a new. Maybe it will be time for a new edition of a game we've thought that they've abandoned. Perhaps a new edition of Legions Imperialis.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than likely the big kind of like reveal will be a game like a side game. Legions Imperialis is done. It's dead.
It's officially kiboshed.
I think it's officially kiboshed. They might bring in Battlefleet Gothic finally. I know we always say that every year that Battlefleet Gothic is going to be the big reveal.
Please be War Master. Please be War Master.
It's not going to be War Master, dude.
Come on, man.
No, Old World is out now. It's fairly popular, not like the best, not the high. It's not as big of a seller as they were hoping, and I think that's just because I think that a lot of people are relatively disappointed in the release.
Yeah,
so to speak. Like, oh, this is just old Warhammer. Yeah. It's like nothing new to it. That's what I love about it is that it is old.
I like that it's old. I'm not a fan that it's old models at modern prices.
Yes, that's the part. Well, it's not even that bad because you actually are getting a lot more figures for the price. But it's not anywhere near as cheap as it should be. Yeah.
For buying 20-year-old figures, that's what I mean. Like it's a 20-year-old sculpt. Like,
I'm with you on it. I'm with you. But yeah, that's the upcoming for 40K. I mean, you got the Emperor's Children release that's coming out that dropped now. So
I'm still shocked that Underworlds is still going.
Me too. Underworlds. Maybe Warcry might get a new edition.
Oh, could be. Maybe they'll finally merge Warcry and Underworlds into one game.
Under Warcry.
Undercry. Ooh, underwear. That's good too.
Yeah.
Warworlds.
Warworlds. I was looking at the new releases for Steam Forged version of War Machine. Have you seen these?
I haven't. No, I didn't know that they. I the last I saw, they were only selling the old stuff.
Number one, the boxes, if they come like this, are super sexy.
Okay.
I gotta throw that out there. So they've introduced the Gravediggers Command Starter, which is a 30-point Signar force. It's scheduled for release at Adepticon. So if you want to drive to Milwaukee to buy your War Machine, feel free. The stuff looks super sexy. Interesting thing is that they have some trolls, the Creole trolls in that box. So now it's like the races are a little mixed up together.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Looks like it looks well. So I mean, I am not going to front, ladies and gentlemen. I have not been following this whatsoever, but I know one of the big, like, hey, fuck yous about the new War Machine is that they eliminated Crix as a faction.
Ooh.
But it now appears that Crix is back as a faction.
Yeah, it's part of the Chimera, right? Is that part of the Crix?
It's Crix Necrofactorium.
Necrofactorium, okay. Because they have the Shadows and Scum pre-order, which if you hadn't seen, is pretty cool looking. It's a 2-player set. You get
I see Shadows and Scum. Yeah, I'm looking at them now.
Yeah, you get the Chimera Shard Nocturnes, which I'm not a huge fan of, but the pirate trolls are awesome.
Pirate trolls kick ass. The fucking shark troll is awesome.
The shark troll, there you go. That's the type of thing that really gets me. Like, ooh, that's fun. I would not mind painting that up.
Oh, the Chimera guys aren't that bad. I do not like that paint job though. That's for sure.
I don't like that style. Like that doesn't do anything for me. Like I wouldn't mind. Like if someone was like, hey, you want to buy into the Shadows and Scum 2-parter, and I bought in there, like, I want to take the Chimera. If you want the trolls, I would definitely take the trolls and paint those up. Because not only would those would just be great for D&D. Those are fantastic models.
The pelican with the bombs in his mouth is awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun set that I absolutely adore.
Yeah, cool. All right, looks like Steamforge is chugging along. They're just continuing with the game as it was. It appears.
Did my whole discussion about how I would do War Machine hordes still entice you?
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's a really good model for a game.
Just to let everybody know, I was talking with Steve. We had a very extensive conversation about if I had the opportunity to redo War Machine hordes, my concept would be the armies have just like what I say, like 4 or 5 SKUs standard per faction.
Yeah, so each faction has its core SKUs, which would be like 2 units and 3 warjacks. Yeah, and that's it. That's your 5 like every faction has that, and that's their maximum for those for that season, however long that lasts.
Well, not even but the fun thing is that all the season is based around the casters.
Oh, yes.
So each caster comes out and they have their own special abilities and combos with them. So you'd have like 3 warcasters per faction, and then you could swap that out in the next edition. So in the next edition, you're not really working on, adding more SKUs. What you're doing is you're eliminating the old warcasters, putting in new quick warcasters, and pushing the storyline along.
Yes, so you can have characters die, get better, retire, change their position.
Yeah, maybe even defect to the other side.
Yep, you can do that as well.
Yeah, so what it would run is that the first year of the release, you would be, here is the factions. You'd probably run that over the course of a year, so, and all the rules would be released in the first book, so everyone has them. Individualized books come out later with the release of the models of the warcasters. So you get on release, you get 1 warcaster released for the faction. Then over the course of the next year or 2, you get 1 warcaster out with a new book. Then you do the next year, you do a campaign book that has updates, errata, and a new Warcaster. And then finally, you do a global campaign the last year of the release where everything progresses along the storyline and everyone buys into that storyline and you register everything online. So that progresses the story for the next year.
Mhm.
So, and then the next year, the next release cycle, the next edition, you get all your figures back again. You get new figures again. So you kind of go through it again. So you're only really having to buy one or by Warcasters.
Yeah, we expect you're expected that you're going to be purchasing the Warcasters, and then the other SKUs may be replaced with retooled or various things. So the idea is that if it's on the shelf for like a basic SKU, like it's going to be legal, and then you rotate it like Magic, and you have a legacy format where you're like, yeah, you want to use all the crazy shit, that's fine. We're not going to look at that format though. So if you guys find something that totally breaks it, that's on you to fix it. Like we're not doing anything with that.
Yeah.
Because that way, instead of like constantly tweaking like the same model over and over and over, you just retire it. And people playing your game know that it's going to go to the legacy format after, this many, this tournament cycle, and you literally do it as a tournament cycle. And then to progress the storyline, you can actually have the results, like grand finals results for like tournament majors actually count. So like, say like at Adepticon, like the Adepticon's the final. So you have an invitational, right? So you can do a tournament series where you have tournaments every, whatever. And then the winners or the top twos for those tournaments get the invite to however you want to split that up, however many people, but they get the invite to the invitational at Adepticon. And at Adepticon, the finals, what goes down in the games of the finals affects the story of the game. So like if, for example, like the finals are, first the dude first turn, like does a fucking combo and kills the other guy's Warcaster and wins immediately. Well, that story is gonna be interesting because they could now write about how this dude just gets fucking killed. Like he's dead, he died, and like that guy's out.
Yeah, I mean that would be fantastic. I think because L5R used to do that with their card game.
Yes, L5R did that because they progressed the story based on the results of tournaments.
Yes, exactly, and I think that's why the Lion Clan guy became the new emperor or something like that.
Yes, the new emperor was because the throne was abdicated or the shogun was assassinated or whatever, and like whatever faction won this tournament was going to put their faction leader on the throne.
Yeah, I want to do my full review of Clan War. I really want to. One day I'm gonna really delve deep into how to play Clan War because I really like the mechanisms of the system. The problem is that they turned. Have you ever, like when a game is at the end of its life cycle when you have about a bajillion rules? Yeah. And you're like, how the hell could anyone manage to learn this game? It kind of like, what's a good example of that? Like War Machine, I guess, is a good example of like at the end of the life of second edition War Machine, when you had all of those books and thousands of rules and characters and factions and all that, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That built up over the course of like 10 years, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Clan War did that in their first release. It's like, could you imagine a game getting released where they have, 10 factions on release, each with its own individualized units and cards with special rules for those units and books. And this is all within 1 year of release.
That's so crazy.
I know. It's insane when you think about it. That game came out in 1999.
Yeah, it's an absolutely crazy release.
I know. That game came out in 1999, and by 2001, there had been 9 books plus the main core rule book for like 10 different factions. It's insane. Insane. It's like there's no way possible a human being could ever learn the rules to that game.
Yeah, that is wild.
And then there's people who are like complaining about the game. They're like, the models aren't all in scale. It's like, that's not the problem, people. The base rules are fine. It's all the individualized faction rules. Because I actually, in looking at the game, it's like, I like this game. It feels kind of like Horus Heresy in a lot of ways. Not in the way that the combat's done or anything like that, but in kind of like the idea and setting of like, this is all humans. all human factions.
Yeah.
They have special individualized units. You have common core units that you could pull for everyone. But it's a nightmare of rules.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
And you know what it uses? D10s.
We love D10s. D10s are underrated dice.
Everyone is using D10s now. The only people left using D6s, Games Workshop.
Yeah, I mean, I've said like D6s are at this point, if it's minis games, D6s are actually best used as multiple coins.
Yeah,
and by that I mean like if your game is structured around 4+, like if that's the idea. Like if 4+ is the structure of your game, D6s are fine because you can balance around that because you just need to think of every die that gets rolled is a coin. So it's a lot easier to balance it than other things. And Workshop got around instead of normalizing the game around the 4+, what Workshop did is they're just like, just fucking throw way more dice at it.
Yeah, exactly. I always see it as it's like the metric versus imperial system where everyone else in the world is like, this game would work better if we used metric, and then like the most popular stuff in the world goes, nah.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah, it's the people are going like, my game's going to use centimeters and millimeters because it's way more appropriate to use, and the Games Workshop is like, nah.
Yeah.
We're going to use D10 because, the decimal system makes it more balanced in it. Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just easier to balance when you're working off the base 100.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I think it's just that D10s are very unwieldy. And I think that's part of like the bad part of it with D10. Like D10 system actually works better with an electronic roller or, like a randomizer.
That is correct.
But it's not as fun.
Also correct.
Yeah.
I think to maximize the efficiency and to basically to have it all, you have to have a limit, some kind of limiter on how many D10s you're going to roll. Because rolling a lot of D10s is a lot more difficult than rolling a lot of D6s.
And a lot of games that I've played recently that use the D10 only used, I think max I saw was like 5.
Yeah, some kind of like actually War Machine would be an amazing game to use D10s. That's so it's funny that you say that because War Machine would be incredibly good with D10s because the max dice you could ever roll in War Machine I think was like 6.
That's weird. Does the new War Machine using D6s?
You know what? I don't know. Does
something? If
dear listeners, do any of you play the new War Machine?
Yeah, if any of you guys know, comment on our Discord. I want to know, does the new War Machine use D6s?
Yeah. Is the new War Machine good? Does it slap? Give us the lowdown.
Yes. Are there pirates? Are the pirates any good?
Well, they're an entire faction, so I hope they're at least somewhat good.
Yar. I like how it does say on the Steam Forge site, like, download the War Machine app. And it's like, how many apps has War Machine had at this point?
I mean, their app was pretty good. They were ahead of the game with it.
It was very good, yeah.
They were ahead of the game with the app. And for the longest time, their app smoked the Workshop ones for a long time.
Is Workshop even still using their apps?
So they have an Age of Sigmar app. It's updated. I know they
updating. Okay, that's the thing. Is like I don't know if it's still updating.
Yeah, no, all their apps are still updating. Most that is a consistent thing so far, anyway.
Oh, so here are the factions for War Machine now. So you do have Krix, Signar, Dusk, which is a new one.
Yeah, they're a combination.
Yeah, Khador, Chimera, Mercenary, Orgoth.
Yes.
Southern Creoles, which are looks like the pirates.
Yeah. So the
terrain faction.
Yeah, the terrain faction, of course. No. So the funny thing about Orgoth that you mentioned, the Orgoth were like, Privateer Press was like, the Orgoth are a legendarily overpowered race. Like they're supposed to be like just in like what's the thing from what's that race from Star Trek that they always mention but is never encountered, that's like the most OP thing that they're like they find the remnants of, where they had like the most busted technology. Like,
I don't know which one that would be.
I can't remember what it is. But
if you told me the episode, I might be able to help you. But
I can't remember. Oh, it's the episode. It's the episode of the race that created all the races
the
in the Milky Way.
Chase, the episode Chase. Yeah, those are like the progenitors or something
Progenitors.
like that.
Yeah, so like the progenitors power level, the progenitors power level was like unbelievable. Like they were the most advanced species that's ever existed, and like we only find like remnants of their like things because they reached past our apex of technology like millions of years before the Milky Way was a thing. So they're totally overpowered, and that was the level of power level that the Orgoth were supposed to have. Like they're like, if the Orgoths show up, they would automatically win, so we could never make rules for them.
Yeah, I mean that works.
And now they have rules. The most overpowered faction has rules.
I'm loving a lot of these new models for War Machine.
Oh, the new sculpts are great. I love the Abyssal King for the fucking the troll, whatever they are now. They're not trolls. Because and actually, yes, please, if anyone's still playing, hit me up. Like, do the trolls still use Fury? Is there a difference? Like, because I mean, the game there doesn't appear to be War Machine Hordes isn't a split anymore, because obviously, like, this game says War Machine, and there's clearly two factions that were absolutely Hordes. The Chimera being the Tyranid stand-in, and the trolls being the trolls. Let us know, dear listeners. Let us know. I do see that they eliminated a whole lot of factions. Funny thing. I know Crix is still here. Well, Crix came back apparently because Crix were definitely an eliminated faction. Yeah. And so now that Crix is back, I can't say this, but almost all of the factions I played in War Machine no longer exist.
I only played Khador because of my love of the communists.
The Soviets. We look very cool, and we have they have a giant
red.
Yeah, they have a giant mech called Mastodon, which is really cool. But I don't like that they didn't go with the a good Russian theming, because like their other heavy mech is like the Great Bear, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, we could say fuck Russia, but the
Khador are cool.
The Khador are cool.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I don't like the modern country, but I love fuzzy hats. So I'm a walking contradiction here.
I like the film Red Heat.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Or does he? No, is he say like
no?
Let off some steam.
That's Commando.
That's Commando.
Yeah, that's where he throws the pipe through the guy and he goes, "Let off some steam, Bennett."
See, I get them all confused.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to get Red Heat for my VHS, my game room VHS collection. I do not have that.
You should. Red Heat's a great movie. I love that movie.
I have a ton of Schwarzenegger, and I just, what I just bought? Cliffhanger.
Nice. That's a great movie.
Oh yeah, because we were talking. Oh, that's right, because they were talking about how John Lithgow is getting cast as Dumbledore in the new Harry Potter series for HBO, and I was just like, the villain from Cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm. I've got the guns, John.
That's the funny thing is, like, your accent when you're doing that sounds like how John Lithgow actually sounds, but his accent in that movie is not his accent.
Yes, that's correct.
So weird.
But that is exactly how he says that line.
Probably. That movie's great. I got that, and
I remember that play. I remember I had the game on Sega CD. That game was fucking awesome.
I have that. I bought that and Heavy Metal on VHS recently. And I just watched. I rewatched Heavy Metal, and that is that movie holds up.
I love that movie. I love the bit with Dan Aykroyd and John Candy.
Well, John Candy's in a lot of them, but
the aliens.
What's that?
The aliens, where they do.
Yeah, where they're like the space aliens with the robot. That was the one that I didn't like.
You don't like the space alien stoners? I like the space alien.
No, I don't like the space. I liked almost all of them. I love, I love the one where the nerdy kid becomes the barbarian.
Oh yeah, that one's great.
It's so wonderfully 80s.
Also, I like the short that was ripped off for the Fifth Element. That was really good too.
Yeah. I mean, I like all of them. Like I even like the cabbie driver one.
Yeah, that's the one. The cabbie driver. That's the one that it's basically the plot of the Fifth Element.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely adore that movie way more than I thought I would. So that if you haven't seen that, it's a good companion movie to watch with the War of the Rohirrim.
I'll give it a shot.
Last thing I got to talk about that I saw that I thought was interesting is there's going to be a new Call of Cthulhu adventure. They're debuting at GaryCon. That's all about Lake Geneva. and I'm excited. I really want it because I kind of want to play it.
That's kind of awesome.
I would love I would love to go to Lake Geneva and play this adventure, the Madness at Geneva Lake.
Now that you mention that, has there ever been an official modern Cthulhu book?
Yeah, Cthulhu. Well, okay. Has there been a modern one in this newest edition? Or are you talking like of any edition?
Like of any? Has there ever been like a modern, a 100% modern setting for Cthulhu?
Yes.
Okay.
There
like
is,
current time. Like if it was made in the 90s, did they make one that was in the 90s?
Cthulhu 90s and Cthulhu Now. Those are both modern settings. So they were like companion pieces to Cthulhu by Gaslight, which I know is just got a new edition that just dropped or is dropping soon. But there is a Cthulhu Now and a Cthulhu 90s. I believe the book is The Stars Are Right is the name of the book. Hold on just one second. I have it right here. No, I don't have it here. It's with my Cthulhu collection upstairs.
Okay.
But I believe it's called The Stars Are Right, which is Cthulhu 90s or Cthulhu Now.
Okay.
So that's modern. This is actually one that's set in 1891. So this is more like Cthulhu by Gaslight.
Okay.
And
I know the most popular is obviously like the classic. What is it, like the 20s?
Yeah, like it's the 30s.
30s. Okay.
Generally, it's post World War I.
Okay. Yeah.
But you usually can play it anywhere between like I would say you would play between like 1920 and 1940.
Okay.
So there's like about a 20-year period that you want to play. That's between. You could go as far back as like 1900, but I think you're getting a little too far back because you want stuff like you want cars. Early.
You want a motor carriage.
Yeah, you want early cars. You want definitely like rail travel, firearms that are easily available. That sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking a medieval Cthulhu could be interesting, but that would be.
There is a medieval Cthulhu. I don't think that's actually done by Chaosium. I think it's a different company. But I know there's Pax Cthulhu, which is, I believe, Roman.
I was gonna say, I just thought of a very specific setting for Cthulhu that no one would buy this book, no one would play this, but here it is.
What's that?
You play as clergy in a remote Roman Catholic church. Monastery, yes, thank you. That was the word I was looking for. And you're investigating Lovecraftian horrors inside your monastery.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, so here it is. It's Cthulhu Dark Ages. It does exist. It's done by Chaosium.
Okay.
So you could, honestly, what you just described could be done through Cthulhu Dark Ages.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you want to run that, more power to you.
I'll just run Morkborg.
I mean, Morkborg would probably work better for that set. That setting sounds like it's perfect for Morkborg.
Yeah.
But yes, they do have the Cthulhu Dark Ages. I knew that from somewhere. They currently dropped the third ed book of it. It doesn't say when it was dropped, but definitely does exist. Oh yeah, 2020.
Yeah, but I know one of the things about Chaosium and Cthulhu is that somehow they've managed to make every one of their editions compatible with all of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few differences between them. You could really play any of the editions, mainly because it's like every one of their scenarios or adventures is just literally roll an insanity check.
Yeah, well, it's mostly not a lot of it. What I noticed is that not a lot of it is mechanical. Like when you're reading one of their supplements, like there's not a ton of like, this is exactly what you need to do. Use this mechanic. But a lot of it is like, it's like this monster, blah blah blah, and like they might have stat blocks here and there, but a lot of times it just says like a Shub-Niggurath is here. Like it doesn't say like what its stats are. It's like because you have that in your core book.
So last thing I got to say before see if you got anything, just to let the world know that horrid racist Ernie Gygax has passed away.
I don't even know who that is, but all right.
Ernie Gygax was the son of Gary Gygax.
Oh, was that the dude who was
he tried to do his own RPG where he had like the black
Yes.
characters had a lower intelligence rating. and
Yes,
it was
I remember he was like a turbo racist.
turbo racist and transphobic.
Yes.
Yeah, and he got a open gaming license. Took away they took away his OGL because of like hate speech in branded products.
Yes,
When they took that away, they were talking specifically about Ernie.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, there was even TSR, which is barely a company, had to officially distance itself from him.
Yes, from him. So I mean, it's sad. I don't know too much about Luke. Everything I've heard about Luke is okay. Luke Gygax is the other brother, but and we all know Gary Gygax was, I'll call him a racist, but I won't call him a turbo racist, but he's kind of a racist. And he was a racist and a misogynist.
Yeah, I think that's pretty like well recorded. I don't think that I don't know if
I just like to put it on record that when I talk about, Dungeons and Dragons and like that, it's like I separate that from Gary Gygax and Gary Khan and all that.
I also don't wring my hands about dead men.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
That's just the thing. I don't wring my hands about dead men. Like I don't freak out about like, oh my God, Lovecraft is a terrible racist. Like, yeah, no shit. Like he's been dead like 100+ years. Like drop it. Like doesn't matter. Like
but you see, for me, it's like sometimes when you say that you enjoy the product, like for example, saying I love heavy metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love heavy metal. Heavy metal is sexist, racist, misogynistic. It really does not reflect well on the modern way of thinking, but I still like it. I like the art, I like the music, I like all of that stuff, but it's like I have to say like, hey, this doesn't reflect my current views. I just enjoy watching it. Like reading Lovecraft. I enjoy reading Lovecraft. It does not reflect on my modern views.
Then there's the almost naked lady with the cool sword riding on a pterodactyl. That's
hell yeah.
Is fucking dope.
Dope as shit, yo.
Yes, and I also really like the space station one. I don't remember
with the Captain Kirk guy.
Yeah, and the dude the tiny guy who becomes the gigantic guy.
Yeah.
That
one's got John Candy in it too.
I really like that one. That one. Either that or the taxi driver one might be my favorite.
But then you watch Heavy Metal 2000 and you're like, this isn't good.
It's because it didn't have the same anything.
It didn't have the grit. That's the problem.
Yeah, there was nothing subversive about it.
The everything about heavy metal, the original heavy metal, looks like it was rubbed in dirt.
And of course, Heavy Metal 2000 is a film.
Yes.
Like the heavy metal is a anthology.
Yes.
Which is a huge difference.
Huge difference. So yeah, we don't have to worry about Ernest G. Gygax Jr. anymore.
I wasn't even worrying about him at all.
Yeah. He's no longer with us. Out of all the people that I could have wished have died in 2025, I don't think I would have added him to the list. There's a lot more people on that list.
Possibly.
So let's do you have anything that we want to talk about?
I don't think so.
The other thing I saw was there's a big kerfluffle going on right now about Magic's rotation. Apparently the newest the rotation that works with all of the new stuff that constantly moves it out is people are feeling like it is too fast of a schedule. I don't know if you know anything about that.
I have not.
I was talking to literally a coworker about this who plays Magic, and he was telling me about how he only likes the format that does the 2-year rotation.
Magic rotates. No, because Magic's 3 years
or 3-year rotation, whatever that was. Yeah.
So
was that modern?
No. Standard is 3 years.
He likes the standard format. He doesn't like modern.
Okay, yeah. So modern is modern's kind of like I don't know if I'd say forgotten format, but modern is like a very inaccessible format currently, and I don't have any answers on how they can fix modern. So what modern is so Magic formats there is vintage, which is you can use fucking everything, and then there's a specific ban list and a restricted list. The restricted list means you can only use one copy. So Black Lotus is on the restricted list. You can use the Black Lotus in your deck, but you can only use a grand total of 1 copy. Then there is Legacy, which is the next format up, and these are going from the distant past to the current present. So there's Legacy, and what Legacy is it's exactly like Vintage, except the list of cards I said that were restricted, the one-ofs only, those are also banned in Legacy. So they're one step up. Like, you cannot use the most powerful, most expensive cards that exist in Magic in Legacy. That is for Vintage only. Then after Legacy, then you have Modern. And what Modern is the easiest one to understand what's legal and not, because Modern is referring to when they redesigned the card face of Magic, because the front of the Magic cards, like, if you've seen a recent Magic card, you probably recognized it as a Magic card, but you thought it maybe looked wrong or weird somehow, because the old one where it was that kind of like flat kind of not stained glass but textured look for all the colors, where it was like the flat red with kind of like the orange lines going through it, and then like the white with the kind of gray accents. That was changed in Mirrodin when Mirrodin came out, and Mirrodin was shit. I mean, I think I was Mirrodin was 2003 is when that came out.
Oh geez.
So Modern is that forward. So Modern has another big gap of amount of time you can use, and it's much more expensive because cards from 2003 pretty expensive. Then you have Pioneer, which is essentially what Legacy Modern is. Pioneer is to Modern. Like it's like the next step up to like gate it from the past again. Like each of these is like, I don't know, however many 10-year like spans of time you want to say, where like they just go like, okay, and now it's too much, so we're gonna make a new format forward. Then there is Standard, which is it's a 3-year rotation, so it's whatever's in print. So this is gonna be for 2025. So like what's currently legal in Standard, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 13 items that are legal in Standard right now. So then in the fall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those items will be rotating out. This fall 2025, 5 of those items will be rotating out. But as they're doing that, everything that's not out yet but is coming out is going to be legal until those sets rotate out.
Good lord.
So, I'm not sure what because I haven't heard of any changes taking place with the rotation. If anything, I think I believe what changed. Hang on, no, because now I'm confused because there's
his whole point was that Modern is just insane. It's just like a crazy release.
Oh, it was just specifically about Modern then. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Modern is
or wait, whatever the one is the whatever the current one that where it's like the rotations are happening too fast.
Oh, it's 3 years. I think 3 years is a pretty good amount.
No, it's not that one. It's the other one. It's the whatever.
Well, the only rotating format is Standard. All the other formats just gain more cards.
Yeah.
So he has to have been talking about Standard.
Yeah.
Now
Standard is the one. Yeah.
I've
been doing this podcast for 12 years and I can't understand Magic. I don't get it.
In most cases, basically universally, you don't need to know that. You don't need to know any of that unless you're going to Magic tournaments.
Yeah.
And a huge amount of people don't go to Magic tournaments. And if they do go to Magic tournaments, they play one format, and that's Commander. So they only need to understand the Commander format.
Did you go to Magic Con?
I did not. I don't go places, so no, I certainly did not go to Magic Con. So he had to have been talking about Standard, but Standard rotates every 3 years. It's just it's more often. I mean, if he brought up Modern, he might say maybe he was saying he liked Modern more because Modern doesn't rotate like Standard does.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm not talking about Magic. I can't understand it.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about it because I don't get it.
All right, very good.
But Ed, I did forget that I did want to talk about the big D&D news. And I'm an idiot for not leading with this. But D&D did release Sigil, which is their tabletop simulator that is super duper fancy.
Oh, that's the one that's the one that really really looks like it's like emulated.
It's a video game.
Yes, but the graphics are like an emulated looking like
Tabletop,
real. Yeah, they're like a really it looks. They tried to make it look like an actual, like you were looking at real miniatures, like real life miniatures.
Yeah, that's it. They try to make it look like you're looking at miniatures on like a super fancy tabletop. It's powered by the Unreal Engine.
Yeah,
It looks fancy. If you're gonna do that though, play a fucking video game.
well, you get more control over this. You get to play with, you get to do other people. It's just like I used to do Neverwinter Nights all the time.
Yep.
It sounds like Sigil is a video game, so I will play the video game Sigil.
Yeah, I mean it literally looks like a video game. It is. Let's see, for the account to play it. It says like what does it say? It's you have to pay money, of course, to play it, which is fine.
They have two tiers. There's base game. Base game is free.
Yeah, the base game is free. You get
single player mode, join multiplayer, and play introductory. Yeah,
you get like 35 painted minis. No unpainted minis. You don't get a ton of stuff in there. It's basically give it a try.
Yeah, and you get the basic dungeon builder kit. So this is something if you're going to be a player as well. If you're just going to do that.
The master tier looks like it's about $6 a month.
That's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean it's not terrible. I don't know. It's like I always feel like whenever I see these tabletop games like this, I'm just like, it looks like this is going to be abandoned within a year or two.
That assessment will be entirely on how many people pay that fucking bill.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you, that's exactly how that's going to go. Because if a ton of people sign up for this and it's a huge hit, it will be supported. Trust.
Oh yeah, of course it will. I think charging for it is the smart thing, because that will keep people. That will show you like people using it, and you don't have to worry about ad revenue and all that shit. Mm-hmm. But
I'm looking at this and like I'm seriously looking at this like this. Like
if you do it, you let me know how it is.
This looks like something I actually might use.
Yeah, you know me. I like playing D&D in person. I like adding that TV to my table was like a decision that was based solely on the needs of the campaign. I cannot run that campaign without having a map on the table. I can't do that in miniature form.
Yeah, no, you gotta
have dungeon crawl. So I'm still going to do terrain and stuff like that, but I think for a dungeon crawl like I have to do in this castle, I can't do it any other way.
Right.
So
because I find the current edition of D&D still pretty video gamey. So I think playing it like this would be fine. Now I would never want something like this for like Tunnels and Trolls or Morkborg or something like that. Like I would just be like, why? I just look at that and I'd be like, why? If I'm playing Morkborg, I want to sit in a dimly lit room with some candles and friends with some sage burning and being like, oh, your dick explodes as the goblin gobbles your knob. that's what I want. I did mean that literally. I wasn't saying sexually. It's eating your genitals. You're bleeding everywhere. Take 10 damage.
Oh man. Roll20's supposedly got some sort of new system coming out too. I haven't really looked into that.
Roll20 is the worst platform I've ever used for anything ever. I hate Roll20. Roll20 is so everything you've ever said about a virtual tabletop, I've disagreed with many times, except I'll take everything you've ever said or thought about a virtual tabletop and I'll apply that twofold to Roll20.
Yeah, I use Roll20 for just the map for my table because I can do Fog of War on it. That's the only reason why I have it on there. So I can do like the editing and block out the room. So when my guys go into the room, I could then clear the room so they could see the inside of it.
As someone who's fucked with a bunch of these virtual tabletops, let me tell you, none of them are user friendly. They're all they're all super fucking counterintuitive. They're user hostile in most cases. Like I say, like the number one thing I said, I was talking to Angel about this, and I was like, okay, dude, do any of these fucking tabletops have the ability for me to just drag a picture from my desktop into a direct message to one of my players and send them that message? Or can I put a image from my desktop into the general chat of the campaign and have the image appear for everyone? No, that doesn't exist. There's not a single fucking virtual tabletop that exists that can fucking do that. How insane is that?
It's called PowerPoint.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was just like, that's fucking bananas. Because like because when I was really looking to try and get a start doing digital campaigns, like I was like, okay, here's what I want, here's what I'm looking for, and like I bounced stuff of every single digital. I even bought Foundry. I paid for Foundry. I've never fucking used it. It's too complicated. All this shit's too complicated. Like it's like I don't want like fucker. Give me a fucking thing that just says maps. Push button. Get a fucking map. Let me send images. Like you can, like everything I said. Yes, you can do those things in Foundry, but you cannot do any of those fucking things on the fly. You have to upload every asset you're going to use for the campaign before you fucking run it, before you use it for anything.
Yep.
Everything needs to be done by hand. It is the most like motherfucker, I'm having enough difficulty trying to organize and run the campaign. Now I have to actually put in a fucking like 8-hour shift to get the fucking program for my leisure activity to run. Fuck that. I'm out. So all of those reasons above is why I'm actually interested in a program like Sigil.
Yeah. They added Dungeon Scrawl to Roll20. That's what it's called. So it's like a dungeon builder. But you are correct. Dwayne is a big fan. Dwayne, who listens to the podcast and is also a friend, gamer friend. He was a big proponent of Foundry VTT. Mm-hmm. And I looked into that one, and you have to pay for it. And I was like, I don't really want to jump in and pay for something where I'm really just putting it on my table. It's just projected onto my tabletop. It's not actually going to be like, I'm not doing virtual games. So it's like I don't really feel that. So I played with Roll20. I didn't mind it because all I did was I put in the maps for the campaign that I'm doing, and I only did it so that I could move it on the tabletop, so people can move around in the squares, and we can move from room to room, and I could show people the room. Yeah, and I can remove the fog of war in the rooms when I need to. That's like all I needed to do. But yeah, there's a lot of like crazy shit that you could do, but you're right. You have to upload all of those assets. And in reality, I think Sigil might be the better pick if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. But if you're not playing Dungeons and Dragons, Sigil is useless.
Yes, exactly that. And that's why I said I might consider like actually running a D&D campaign with Sigil. I'm going to look into Sigil. I'm going to run. I'm actually going.
You're going to run Eberron, Steve?
Absolutely fucking not. Before the next podcast, I will have done the basic tutorial for Sigil.
Okay, we're going to hold you to that.
Yes, that is what I am going to do. I'm going to do this.
So, everybody, that's about it. We've gone way long, but we did skip a week, so there you go.
Yeah, so you get a double dose.
Go to the Game Classy Facebook page. It's the best way to find the link to the Game Classy Discord, where we do put up all of our information. I'm going to put up the link to the Discord and the YouTube videos too, so that way, people could go in through that way. I've been ignoring that for a while, but if you do go to the Game Classy YouTube page, I have actually been making stuff, and you get to see all of my lovely gaming stuff that I've been working on for Dungeons and Dragons. I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna try and do at least one video a week, either something normal or a mini review or something with the campaign. Probably this week you'll probably see a review of a couple different Clan War minis. What do you think?
I like it. We played Dungeons and Dragons for 5 hours, then I was slain by an elf. We played Dungeons and Dragons for 5 hours, and then I was slain by an elf.
Simpsons. You could go. The best way you can help out the podcast, like, comment, subscribe on the YouTubes, or like, comment, subscribe on the iTunes. Go to the Discord. That's the best one. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Go to the damn Discord. Find the link on Facebook. Find the link on YouTube. Go to the Discord. It's where we put up everything. We're all located in one central spot. If you want to see any more of my stuff, you can go to either the YouTube or you could go to my Instagram page, which is @GameClassyJoe. Steve is still MIA from all social media because he was.
But I am on Discord.
He's on Discord, but he's banned from everything else. Probably because he called Elon a poo-poo head.
I said he was a pee face, and he didn't like that. And
no, he didn't.
He got very upset because he's a child.
So you go to my Instagram page. So Steve, until next time.
I'm walking on sunshine. Ooh, and it might feel good. Bam.
Hey.
Game Classy.